As we build up live to kick off here at 8:45 Central European time, so around about 40 minutes to go before the game gets underway. Alex, we know that coming to this stadium, usually Levante raise their game for the visit of Real Madrid.
They certainly do, but Real Madrid's away form in La Liga is really impressive. We've seen some big results in recent weeks and months. You think about the away wins against the likes of Betis, Espanyol, Atletico, of course. Who can forget that victory in the Madrid derby? So Real Madrid in really impressive away form in La Liga. Haven't lost away from home since November. So they'll come here full of confidence with a big week ahead, but knowing that right now it's all about this game, this 90 minutes. They can't get carried away. They can't get ahead of themselves and start thinking about some of those other games in the Cup, in La Liga next weekend with those two Clásicos to come. It's all about getting the 3 points against Levante this evening. And as you rightly say, a really good Levante side who are more than capable of causing any team problems.
It is a big week coming up for Real Madrid. We've got tonight's game, and then of course we do have those back-to-back Clásicos at the Santiago Bernabeu. The first one in the Copa del Rey, the second of course in La Liga, and then the week after that, well, it's the small matter of the Champions League last 16 return leg against Ajax at the Bernabeu as well. So some really big games coming up for Real Madrid, starting of course this evening with this match against the Levante side. You might remember last season's game here. It was a dramatic match which Levante scored late on to snatch a 2-2 draw. We know, as we said, that Real Madrid come here and it's often a battle. Levante have in previous years been quite a physical side, so we know that they're going to make life tough for Real Madrid this evening. Levante, by the way, are the side who have conceded the most number of goals in La Liga this season. Well, them and Celta Vigo, no side has conceded more than the 43 goals that Levante have let in so far this season. So given Real Madrid's good scoring form, particularly on the road, of course, scoring 3 at the Wanda Metropolitano, 4 at Cornellà El Prat against Espanyol, and 2 against Real Betis in those 3 successive away wins. Hopefully we can continue that good scoring form against the division's worst defence.
They've had some big negative results go against the Levante. If you look over the season, you think about them losing 5-0 at Sevilla, you think about them being beaten 5-0 here by Barcelona. They, as you say, have conceded plenty of goals. Got a big result last weekend, beating Celta Vigo 4-1, a brace for Morales, and that will have given them a real boost going into this game as well. They're having a decent season. They're mid-table, 7 points clear of the bottom 3. They're in 12th place, so they'll be fairly happy with that this season once again for Levante. Survival and continuing their position in the Primera would have been the objective, and they look on course to achieve that. They're a somewhat inconsistent team. That's certainly reflected in recent results. Just 2 wins for them in their last 10 games, but certainly on their day they are capable of beating anybody.
Live images here from the Ciudad de Valencia stadium as the side out on the pitch warming up for this evening's match. People joining us live on Real Madrid TV, on realmadrid.com, on Facebook and on YouTube. We are broadcasting across the world from the Ciudad de Valencia stadium, building up to Levante against Real Madrid. Let us know where you're tuning in from as well. Great to know where Madridistas are joining us. As we know, Madridismo is absolutely universal all over the world. Lots of people joining us, so we'll be great to know where you're watching us from. Let's get you up to date then with the team news. We'll give you the starting 11 then for both sides, beginning with Real Madrid. Let's see who Santiago Solari has chosen for tonight's game. Well, no real surprises with Thibaut Courtois in goal, Carvajal, Varane, Nacho and Reguilón, Modric, Casemiro and Kroos, and then up front Lucas Vázquez, Karim Benzema and Vinicius Junior. It is that tried and tested trident now up front for Real Madrid. Obviously no Sergio Ramos in the back four, but we know Varane and Nacho are a more than competent centre-back pairing. That 3 in the middle, we know all about them. They've been there, they've done it, they've won it all. And as we said up front, Lucas Vázquez, Karim Benzema and Vinicius Junior are really building a really good understanding between them.
It's a really strong team. It's not far from a first choice 11 for Santi Solari, with the absence, of course, as you mentioned, of Sergio Ramos. There was some speculation ahead of this game that Solari might be tempted to rotate more with this big week ahead for Real Madrid, that he might be tempted to give some of these players a break. You've got the likes of Casemiro, who is 1 yellow card away from a potential suspension as well. But I think it's worth noting that Solari has picked a really strong team. He's really saying that this game is important, as we've been saying, not thinking too much about those 2 Clásicos coming up, because he wants to get the 3 points here, and that's why it's such a strong starting 11. I think you're right. You look at the front three, in a way that has been Solari's first choice front three in recent weeks. Of course, now you've got Gareth Bale back in the equation as well. It's the first choice midfielder, and the defence, barring the absence, as I say, of Sergio Ramos, is really strong as well. So yeah, as strong as possible 11 for Solari here.
Madridistas is joining us from all over the world, from Mexico, from Egypt, Honduras, Hungary, all over the USA, Trinidad and Tobago as well. Lots and lots of people letting us know where they're watching us. Continue to do let us know, because we are reading the messages on Facebook and on YouTube, as well as we build up to kickoff in the Ciudad de Valencia Stadium. As we said, it's Real Madrid against Levante side, who do have the worst defensive record in the division. Let's hope that Real Madrid can add to those woes this evening. Let's take a look at the Levante starting 11 and see who we are up against. There are some important players to watch out for, not least José Luis Morales, the number 11, aka El Comandante. That's his nickname. He's chipped in with 8 goals in La Liga so far this season. No midfielder has scored more. And of course, Roger Martí, their number 9 up front. Those two really are the danger men, but they've got good players in midfield like Rochina and Bardi as well.
Indeed, as you say, 8 goals for Morales, 9 goals for Roger. Rochina is probably the creative hub of this team. He's a player who's had a somewhat unconventional career, and he's often featured in the past out wide. He's come into the centre of the pitch in this Levante side, and he's a really important player for them. But there's no doubt, if there's one player to keep an eye on, one player to watch out for, is without doubt El Comandante Morales. He's a super player. He was talking in the build-up to this game, listening to an interview with him in midweek, talking about the importance of this game. Interesting as well, talking about how he always makes sure the week before he's playing an opponent, he makes sure he watches their full 90 minutes, takes a look at the team, looks to try and identify their strengths and weaknesses. Now that sounds obvious, and you think, yes, well, don't all players do that? Well, no, actually a lot of players don't do that. In fact, the majority of players do not do that. So he'll have been looking at Real Madrid in recent weeks and looking at their defence and trying to figure out any ways that he can try and make life hard for them. But he is a nightmare for defenders, Morales, because he's really, really quick. One of the quicker players in La Liga, without any doubt. He's got an eye for goal. He's a tireless runner, and he's very intelligent in the runs he makes too.
Real Madrid have beaten Levante 19 times in La Liga. That's the joint most in the competition. They have had recent success against the side from Valencia. Levante, of course, is the second team in the city of Valencia after Valencia Club de Football. But in recent seasons, we've seen Levante cause Real Madrid some problems, which is potentially why we see Santiago Solari pick such a strong team tonight, given that we do have some massive matches coming up. But also it's sending out a message. It's sending out a message that La Liga, it's not over. We are going to fight, and we're going to field our strongest team here, and we are coming here for the 3 points.
That's exactly what it is. Look, this is match day 25. There's a lot of time left in this La Liga season. There are a lot of points still at stake, and anything can happen. I think you're exactly right. The team that Santi Solari has picked here is saying, we very much believe the La Liga title race is alive. We're going to go for it in this competition. We're going to look to put a run together, keep getting 3 points on the board, see what happens, see if the other teams up there at the top of the table drop some points, win these big games, and then see where we are. That's all you can do. So that's why he's picked a team that he has, and that's why this game is so potentially important, not just because it's about going into the midweek Clásico and next weekend's Clásico with a win, but also just in terms of La Liga, in terms of the table, in terms of the points that Real Madrid have got, and saying that, as you say, the title race is still very much alive.
Absolutely. There are lots of Madridistas joining us from all over the world, from Zambia, Azerbaijan, Jamaica, different parts of England, the Cayman Islands, Australia as well. Wherever you're joining us from, do let us know, and you're very welcome along to live coverage of Real Madrid's warm-up here at the Ciudad de Valencia Stadium. This is the match live on Real Madrid TV. We do this before every single La Liga game. We are here bringing you coverage of Real Madrid's warm-up and discussing the lineup, discussing the potential pitfalls of each game, because we know that every single match in La Liga is very competitive, particularly this season. We have seen teams drop points unexpectedly all over Spain, really, not to confine just to Real Madrid. It has been a very, very competitive La Liga season, and there will be more ups and downs, you know that, between now and the end of the season for sure. We can see him just to the left of the picture there. Vinicius Jr., of course, didn't start the last game against Girona, but he's back in the starting 11. Such an important and exciting player. Of course, Real Madrid have had a whole week to prepare this game. It's the first time in 2019 they've had a whole week to prepare a match. We know the games are becoming thick and fast games every single 3 days. Well, we've had a whole week to prepare this game, so hopefully we can see that kind of preparation and rest for the players bear fruits out on the pitch.
And don't underestimate how potentially important and how potentially significant that is as well, because I think sometimes we underestimate, and certainly as outsiders, the fans, the press, we underestimate just how little time the players and the coaches have to work together between games. For much of the season, you're looking at games every 3 or 4 days, and because of the frantic kind of pace and the physical demands of top-level football, you come off the back of a game, you've got, of course, a rest and recovery day, then you're back into training, and straight away you're building up to the next game. Coaches really don't get, during the course of the season, very much time at all to work with these players. And so when you get a week like this week, it's ever so important, and you would expect to see some of the fruits of that, as you say, out on the pitch. So I'm sure that Santi Solari has really enjoyed taking the time to work with the players on the training ground at Valdebebas this week, ahead of potentially, once again, I mean, we keep saying this, this could be the critical stage of the season. We've been saying it for the last few weeks and months, but now when you look at some of the games that are on the horizon, this really is getting towards the business end of the season. So yeah, I'm sure that full week in training will have come in useful. In terms of Vinicius Jr., as you mentioned, it was notable that he was rested against Girona, having started, what was it, 13 games on the trot, I think, before that, and contributing so much in that time, not just with the 2 goals and the 5 assists that he contributed, but bringing so much more to the team in terms of his kind of youthful energy, in terms of the unpredictability of his play, the audacity of his play as well, his willingness to take players on and try things. It is incredible just how quickly Vinicius Jr. has become a key member of this team at such a young age, and it was understandable that he was given a break on the bench against Girona, because when you are that young, you just can't play game after game after game after game. At some point you're going to have a break, but yeah, it's great to see him back in the starting 11 tonight.
Madridistas is joining us from Germany, Tajikistan, Russia, Angola, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Morocco, Pakistan, Brazil, from all over the world. Madridistas tuning in here to Real Madrid TV to watch the side warm up ahead of matchday 25 against Levante. Kickoff coming up in just under half an hour's time. Let's hear from the manager, let's hear from Santiago Solari what he had to say at the pre-match press conference.
Cada partido se prepara y se juega con el máximo compromiso. Mañana toca el Levante, mañana toca la Liga. Y nuestro compromiso es pelear por la Liga hasta el final. Pues siempre esperamos poder recortar puntos. Nosotros, ese es nuestro deseo, esa es nuestra ambición. Y para eso nos preparamos y para eso preparamos los partidos de Liga. Nuestro compromiso es pelear por la Liga hasta el final. Y para eso tenemos que volver mañana a presentarnos allí, en un campo muy difícil, y tener la atención necesaria para enfrentar a un partido de estas características, que sabemos lo complicado que va a ser. Tenemos que ir allí despiertos desde el minuto 1 y hacer nuestro juego y presionar arriba, y cuando no lo logramos, juntarnos y ser siempre muy agresivos, ser protagonistas por supuesto con la pelota, y ser muy agresivos de cara a la portería contraria. Jugadores tienen el mérito de todos estos partidos que llevamos muy buenos, esta racha tan positiva. Hemos logrado cosas muy buenas, y si estamos en condiciones de afrontar esta semana tan importante, en la que no me quiero extender porque nuestro foco tiene que estar puesto en el partido de Levante, pero que sí que tiene cosas trascendentes, es por todo lo bueno que hicimos antes. Tiene 18 años, ha hecho varios goles ya y va a hacer muchos más. Por supuesto que cada mes o cada semana que pasa él aprende cosas nuevas. Es lo que sucede cuando uno se incrusta en el profesionalismo a una edad tan temprana. Tiene mucho y muy bueno de donde aprender, porque está rodeado de los mejores, y todos esperamos que él siga creciendo y que él siga aprendiendo, y para eso estamos, para apoyarlo.
Santiago Solari speaking there. The final question, of course, was about Vinicius Junior, the only player who's 18 years of age in this Real Madrid side, who is learning, he is developing, he is improving, and he is proving to be very, very important for Real Madrid as well. We heard Solari mention there the word aggression. He wants his side to be aggressive, particularly in the final third. We want Real Madrid to come out and to not only start well, but to maybe show that they mean business, to come out playing a high-intensity game and to not give Levante even a sniff of hope, really. Getting an early goal, as always, is extremely important, and particularly away from home as well. But if they can come out and make that high-intensity, aggressive start against Levante, who are a side who do concede a lot of goals, they might sit back and they could be got at. They are pretty vulnerable.
And we're looking at Lucas Vázquez there out on the pitch, and that's where I think a player like him can be so important, because he sort of personifies that mentality that you need for that sort of aggression, that sort of intensity. A player who's willing to work really, really hard. Keep an eye on Lucas Vázquez and look at the work that he does off the ball. He really doesn't stop moving, and he works really hard in terms of closing down opponents. The same goes for Vinicius Junior. That's part of the job, really, of the front three, because sometimes you can focus maybe too much on the role of the front three with the ball, of course, in terms of scoring goals, in terms of creating chances, but it's equally important the work that front three do when the team doesn't have the ball, the work they do to close down the goalkeeper, to close down the defenders, to not allow the opposition to settle on the ball at any point. And if you put pressure on like that, that's when players can start to make mistakes. So I'm sure that's what Solari will be looking for from his front three. In terms of the midfield, we're looking at Luka Modric there, and the same goes, of course, for him as well. We know just what a kind of an all-action, energetic midfielder he is. Keep an eye on Luka Modric, on Casemiro as well, to work really hard to close down the Levante midfielders. We talked about the importance of Rachina in particular. He sort of makes Levante tick in the midfield, and I'm sure that Casemiro and maybe Modric as well will have been tasked with keeping an eye on him and closing him down and not giving him any time on the ball. So there's no doubt, you hear the words intensity again and again in the build-up to these games, but it really is so important, because it's just all it takes is to drop off a bit in terms of that intensity, and you can lose the momentum of the game, and you can allow the opposition to grow into the game. You really have to keep up that pace right from the start.
Live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Real Madrid TV and realmadrid.com around the world. This is the match live from the Ciudad de Valencia Stadium, Levante against Real Madrid, match day 25 in La Liga. Let's just repeat the starting 11 for you, with Thibaut Courtois in goal. A back four this evening for Real Madrid at Levante of Dani Carvajal, Nacho, Rafael Varane and Sergio Reguilón. Toni Kroos, Casemiro and Modric in midfield, and then up front Lucas Vázquez, Karim Benzema and Vinicius Junior. Of course, we've seen Sergio Reguilón make his way into this Real Madrid starting 11 this season. The youngster, of course, is Madrid born. He's been in the Real Madrid Youth Academy since the under-10s now. His breakout season into the first team. It's been incredibly impressive to see Reguilón cement a place not just in the first team squad, but the first team proper as well. And both he and Dani Carvajal will look to get forward plenty this evening against a Levante side who will potentially give them a bit of space down the flanks. But yes, Reguilón, he's been incredibly impressive for this season whenever he's given a chance.
Well, again, talking about intensity and talking about work rate and having to get at the opposition, Reguilón really embodies that. It's what he's all about as a fullback. He really personifies hard work and effort, covering so much ground. The way he gets up and down that left flank is quite remarkable. You're right, he's really come out of nowhere and surprised, I think, everybody this season, Sergio Reguilón, in terms of the impact that he's made. Even he, in his wildest dreams, I think, might not have expected to have played as much for the Real Madrid first team this season as he had, to have got the opportunities that he had and what he's done. And this is always what we look for from young players, is when you get an opportunity, you've got to seize it, you've got to grasp it with both hands at a club like Real Madrid, because these opportunities to cement a place in the first team don't come around very often. And that's exactly what Reguilón's done. He's seized the opportunity, and he's been playing superbly well. He's been delivering for the coach and performing week in, week out. He's shown that he's absolutely at home in this company, that he has the quality and he has the mentality to play a regular role in the Real Madrid first team. Now, of course, there's competition for that place. Of course, you've got Marcelo, one of the best left-backs in the world, there as well as an option. But Reguilón has kind of won this place in the team off the back of his performances, and rightly so. Solari's seen that, and he keeps picking him.
We saw there Karim Benzema, of course, Real Madrid's top goal scorer this season in La Liga and in all competitions. 10 goals in La Liga. He's also chipped in with goals in the Champions League and the Copa del Rey as well, and he's been scoring away from home as well, Karim Benzema. We saw him get on the score sheet in Amsterdam against Ajax in the Champions League, what was it, around about 11 days ago. He scored away at Girona, a brace in the Copa del Rey quarter-finals. He scored a brace as well away at Espanyol in La Liga in January. He's scored in Villarreal. So since the turn of the year, he's been consistently getting on the score sheet and away from home as well. Enjoying watching Karim Benzema this season. He's been absolutely brilliant, and I think he's enjoying his football as well.
And we've had the chance to watch Karim Benzema and enjoy him more than ever this season. The fact that he's played 39 out of 41 games this season, only given a break, I think, in 2 of the cup games, shows just how important he is to this Real Madrid team, showing no signs of tiredness. Actually, Karim Benzema looks in better physical condition than ever this season, and he's performing. He's been one of Real Madrid's best players. He's been scoring goals, as you've been saying, consistently. The kind of the blossoming relationship that he's formed with Vinicius Jr. has been an absolute pleasure, a joy to watch at times, the way that those two have developed this kind of understanding so quickly. Karim Benzema stepped up this season, and he's recognised and acknowledged his role as one of the leaders on the team, on the pitch. So important to this team, to the way that they play, the goals that he scores, the goals that he creates, his movement, everything that he does. And this front three, which, as I say, right now looks like being the first choice Real Madrid front three of Benzema, Vinicius and Lucas Vázquez, they complement each other really well. Karim Benzema is clearly the senior member of that trio, and he's understanding sort of what is required by that role, and he's doing exactly, I'm sure, what Solari wants to see him do out on the pitch, which is contributing in big games, key moments, scoring goals.
Absolutely. We see there Luka Modric as well, who the last few weeks has really been hitting form, getting back to his best, both in terms of physical presence and the natural ability that we know that he possesses in abundance. We know that last season, of course, here we drew 2-2 with Levante. It was a tough game. The season before that, we had a 3-1 victory against Levante, but the final goal was scored by Isco in injury time, so it was a tough game there from against Levante a couple of seasons ago, as they often are. Back in 2014, we came here and won by 5-0. You might remember that particular fixture. And in 2013, we won here by 3-2 with 2 goals in injury time to record a famous comeback. So, as we say, it is often a difficult place to come to, the Ciudad de Valencia Stadium, and against Real Madrid, this Levante side do raise their game. They are sitting comfortably at the moment in mid-table. I say comfortably, they're at 7 points above the relegation places. They have done incredible work under that man there, Paco Lopez, the manager, since taking over. They've had some really big results, some really good runs of performances and victories, and at the moment they're not quite in the relegation battle, or are they? They will probably feel that they're nowhere near safe yet.
Well, first of all, you're right. Let's just emphasise what a good job Paco Lopez has done since taking charge in March of 2018. At the end of the 2017-2018 season, they got 8 wins from 11 games. 8 wins from 11 games for Levante. That absolutely remarkable impact. One of the managerial jobs of last season, what Paco Lopez did taking over. You're right. That kind of form was never going to be sustainable over the course of the whole season. It was unrealistic to expect that. I mean, if they had carried on that sort of form, they would be title contenders, and that was never going to be an option for Levante. Like you say, 7 points. Well, the table's just so tight this season. It's really tight. Basically, how many teams have we seen who've been right down there in the relegation mix? You think about Athletic Club, you think about Valencia as well, who put a little run together, and all of a sudden they're pushing potentially for a European place. The 2 clubs that I mentioned right now. So So that's how quickly things can change. And of course, things can also change the other way. So teams that you think of as being comfortably in mid-table, Levante, a great example. Like you say, 7 points is the gap from the bottom three. You think, okay, they're probably going to be fine. But all it takes is to start dropping points and not getting